Hello everyone, and welcome to my Stamina Templar PvP build guide. It's my second Templar guide on this channel, and if the first one was a classic Stamplar, this one uses current meta setup. When I was making my first Templar video, that build worked pretty nice, same as all the other normal human builds. But then everyone started using meta.dot setups. And guys, you can tell me whatever you want, you can tell me how you can still use an honest build and do just fine, but I'm afraid that's just not the case. My take on that is, if you are using honest build, you will be honestly dunked on by 100 of the same build. I never really like to use the most OP meta, because it's kinda boring to use what everyone uses. But recently I've had enough. I was playing different builds on all classes, and honestly I was just done. No matter what build I was playing, it usually ends up with me being destroyed by current dot meta. This is how it goes. Even if you somehow win, you are at so much disadvantage, it's just ridiculous. At first, you need to actually try to survive, before even thinking about winning. So yeah, and I thought, you know what, either I won't be playing PvP for now, or I'll fight fire with fire. And I chose the second option. So let me present to you the most unique build in the universe. Dragon's Appetite, Master's Mazes, Vateshran Ice Staff, Balorgh, Devdir's Fete, and 2-piece HP. I bet you would have never guessed. I already was talking about these sets, so I don't see any point to do it again. The only set that might need a bit of explanation in context of this video is Dragon's Appetite. So Templar is considered right now as one of the weakest classes, and it doesn't have a lot of dots naturally. So you would think it's an awful idea to put this build on it. But you know what? It's actually quite the opposite. And I'll explain to you why in a second. My original plan was to just play Templar because it's one of my favorite classes. And in order for it to be any good in PvP, I've decided to throw dot meta on it. I didn't really expect that it will be any good, and that's why I was so surprised. Because yeah, this build can make any class much better, but still for some classes in my opinion it doesn't really help much. I was doubting the idea to put it on Templar, but it worked out pretty damn good. Because what Dragon's Appetite does is adds additional damage to all of your skills when you have a bleed effect on the enemy. So we have Ranged Slashes and Vateshran Staff doing increased damage, like it does on every other similar build. But on this build specifically, Dragon's Appetite also boosts our jabs and our beam, basically the similar way as Deadly Strike. So even though you don't have much dots on Templar, you have channel skills, which will be boosted by this set. And I like the damage. You can actually notice your jabs this time being not completely useless and even decent, dare I say. And of course, Jesus Beam, the strongest execute skill in the game. If you hit someone with it and they have low HP, they are pretty much finished. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by how this build performs on Stamplar. Talking about skills, my backbar is the same as in my first video. Here I have most of my heals and buffs. On frontbar, however, I had to make some adjustments compared to my classic Stamplar build. First change was Living Dark instead of Repentance, and the second was Ranged Slashes instead of Toppling Charge. So the reason why I dropped Repentance is simply because I have much more stamina recovery, since Dragon's Appetite gives a bunch of it. And instead I chose to have more reliable healing and defense skill, which is Living Dark. I was never really using it before, but now I really like it. Basically what it does is it heals you and snares the enemies when they are doing damage to you. Stacked with other heals over time, such as Ritual and Rune, you will have amazing survivability. And adding Honor the Dead and Vigor, it will be even better. Second change was Ranged Slashes for Toppling Charge, and here I had to do it because Slashes is our way to proc both Master's Mazes and Dragon's Appetite. Without Toppling Charge you don't have any CC skill other than Dawnbreaker, but on this build I didn't really feel like it was the issue. If you want to play with CC skill though, I can recommend you to use either Toppling Charge or Binding Javelin instead of Chem Hunter. Here you can just play without crit buff or use damage potions instead. In that case, you can replace jabs as well if you'd like. Recently I was trying out Javelin and I think it's really cool. The problem is how to fit it on your bar. Other than that, it's an amazing and fun skill to use. I really like how this build plays, firstly because it's Templar and secondly because it can actually do damage. Same as before, Templar has an amazing survivability and an inbuilt cleanse in Ritual. Beam is super strong and it's super satisfying to finish someone with low HP. Really the best execute in the game, and it's not even close. Jabs are also OG skill, which you can notice for once with this build. Maybe you can say this build lacks mobility and crowd control, but I honestly don't see those as problems. Plus you can also switch to damage potions and change some skills to CC or mobility ones. Living Dark is also kinda a flex spot, so you can change that as well. Overall, I really like this build and feel like it makes Splar much stronger than it is on classic build. I know it's the meta everyone is using now, but even when you are using it, you can always make it less boring by playing fun classes. So be sure to give it a try. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.